think I can start a little bit welcoming you and introducing first and foremost the panel series to you until everybody else is coming in. So welcome, this is a part of the Game Changers Collective panel series. This is our first fireside chat here with Denise Felipe-Adams. Very happy that you're here. And we do this on a regular basis. We do these panels mainly around tech to break down the barriers, to help people to get into topics that they might, afraid to get into otherwise. Web3, AI, blockchain, all of the above. And we love to invite people that are masters at their craft. And specifically now we're talking today about New York City. So definitely here, the mayor's office representative. That's an amazing source for insights. So come in and in the front there's still a lot of place and a lot of room for you. So what we're going to do here is have a 45-minute chat amongst us and go back and forth. And then we open this up for a Q&A session. And then afterwards, we're going to do a little networking. And also, there is, right after this, an event called Sunset Social. And we're going to start this on the rooftop. So if you're then still willing to stay here and enjoy a couple of drinks, mingle, meet new people, go upstairs, see the sunset, and then come back down here, and then we have a DJ, and it's going to be a whole own party. So your whole schedule is already filled for the rest of the night. Couple of house rules that we have here, just to highlight this quickly, is please be respectful towards our guests. So keep it quiet. We come to the questions in a later stage here. Then at the same time, also social sharing is definitely encouraged. So we have here Denise's, if you want to tag on Instagram, I know it's like a little bit of a tricky subject, but it's a private account. Anyways, if you want to tag her, then that's definitely a choice. But more importantly, follow her on LinkedIn. This is where the conversation happens, correct? Yes, yeah. This is where the conversation happens. And also, very importantly, we have a group called the Game Changers Collective group on LinkedIn. If you later on scan this code here, the QR code, you can directly join us. Denise already joined, so you can also get in touch with her over that group. So, your microphone is over here.
I'm warming it up.
Wonderful.
Do you guys hear me? Well, good evening to all of you guys. It's nice to see everyone here. This is my first time over here, just so you guys know. So it's nice to see a lot of lovely faces, a lot of professionals I see in the room. So let's get this party started.
Let's get this party started. So that was my last point. Is like, let's have fun, right? So this is really a dialogue. So we want to make sure that everybody is informed, that leaves the room informed. And also, you can always plead the fifth if you don't want to talk about something or you can't talk about something. Let us know. And when I ask the question then differently. I think we are all here, right? The majority. Is anyone There's
space here in the front.
There's still space here in the front. Come in. Don't be shy. We don't bite.
AC hits best over here, but
yeah, I think we're all going to be. So it's definitely a fireside chat. We increase the
it
heat
feels
here.
like fire in here with this carpet.
I love your accent. This is so amazing. I love this really.
I love your accent too. Look at that.
Perfect. All right. So Denise Felipe-Adams, the Executive Director at the Mayor's Office for Innovation and Emerging Markets. So thank you very much for joining us here. First and foremost, a round of applause, please, for you here. Thank you for coming in.
An applause for you guys, too, because today is a beautiful, hot day. It's good to be in the beach today, but you guys chose to be here to see my lovely face. So thank you.
And you are also a pro-Latina advocate. I saw this on your LinkedIn. And you have been with the mayor for a long, long time. Would love to start with the conversation here about learning more about you. Who is Denise? How did you get into politics? How was your journey?
Oh, wow. Denise. I'm also known, just so you guys know, in City Hall, but more importantly in Borough Hall, they know me as Dominican Denise, DD. Everyone's always shouting that when they see me walking around, to differentiate, because there's several Denises and Tenises, and people are like, we want that girl, the Latina girl with the accent. I'm like, okay, Dominican Denise. So that's what people, even the mayor refers to me that way. So I was born and raised here in the Lower East Side. This is like my backyard, right in this area. And I never, ever, ever, ever thought I would get into politics. I'm gonna be very honest with you. Politics was very in the back. My mother, she came from the Dominican Republic, and she was in politics. And I don't know if you guys heard about the Trujillo times, but that stayed in her mind, and she says, I don't want any of my kids involved with politics. But here I am in this position. I worked in construction for a long time, and then there was a little hiccup in our market, and it threw me out of construction for a little bit, and I had the opportunity to get myself involved with politics. I worked with a judge. He was very well known, the first black senator from Brooklyn. His name is William C. Thompson. They created a lot of the movements with Bobby Kennedy, and he was my mentor. And he told me, you have a fire in you, young lady, so I think you really need to get involved. And the only way, if you want to make change, because I used to always complain, run my mouth, blah, 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 this is wrong, politicians are liars, blah, blah, what everyone says every day. He said the best way to instill change is from within. So that's what got me into politics, realistically, to understand it.
How old were you?
Old enough to know better. But young enough to be taught.
Wonderful. I love it.
Somewhere around there. I've been in this for like 17 years.
And you were with Eric Adams also when he was the Brooklyn Borough president, right?
Yes, I worked with him as a special assistant. They couldn't decide what title to give me because he had me dabble into every little sector, whether policy or constituency or just his nonprofit. He understood that I love to socialize, but I had the gift of gab, right? I love to be with people and I love to connect, but I also have this thing where I just really like to dive deep with folks and then just, project manage anything, It's one thing to strategize, but something else to implement. And he noticed that gift in me. I love the implementation. I love to see things grow. So he made me his special assistant, where I did take, we had a deputy borough president, which is considered like the vice president. She was Latina. She was also a mentor of mine, Diana Reyna. And when I entered the administration, she wound up leaving. So I inherited all of her work. So I had to deal a lot with the community boards. I had to learn policy real fast. Like everything was dumped on me. I had to learn everything of the internal groups extremely fast, but I ingratiated myself pretty well.
Clearly, absolutely.
Yeah.
All right, let's jump into politics. So
Politics.
I got the numbers today from 2022. There's the the new business applications that came out now, and I'm so jealous that you have this little van.
I come prepared.
Yeah, very well done, very well done. So the new business applications, and this is basically per 1,000 people residents. The average is 50 new business applications here, and so the new cities, the top ranking ones are Miami, right now, no surprise, Atlanta, Orlando, and also Denver. So there's a lot of new applications coming in here. So taking one step back, looking at San Francisco and all this exodus that is happening there, and all these big companies reducing their presence, Twitter, Salesforce, Meta, you name it. What learnings do you pull out of that situation with San Francisco for New York City?
Well, I want to be very clear that nobody does it like New York City. So I'm always going to advocate for New York City just in case. California can stay right over there in their corner. I love the Big Apple. I believe that, and I just want to be clear, the views I'm expressing here are that of my own, not of my principal, not of the mayor, but just my experience working with him and seeing all the challenges inside and then also the outside. I've been traveling to a lot of states, including California, to see all things tech. And I think that the pandemic really did a number on us. We really weren't prepared. New York, technology is nothing new. We all know technology existed, right? This was spearheading everything, but it's just, it remained as a silo of private sector. And everyone was making their money there, and the city had no choice once we went into the pandemic to just force itself to catch up. And that's where we are right now. Everyone is in step 21 and we're still at 11. I'm going to be very honest with you guys. I think that for the past year and a half in this administration, I've had the opportunity to travel everywhere in other countries and, also here within the US of A. I think no one really has what New York has at the end of the day. People haven't, the numbers from within, I've noticed that there's more tech companies registered here in New York City than they actually announce. Everyone talks about Silicon Valley and San Francisco. I think the implementation portion is what San Francisco and Seattle and maybe Miami has ahead of us because they implemented faster than we do. And
lower taxes.
I'm sorry?
Lower taxes, maybe that's a little bit.
Yeah, I'm not getting to the tax part. I'm not going to dive on tax because obviously, even though it's lower taxes and big businesses complain about that, at the end of the day, they don't have the seasoning, the spice that New York City has. I don't care what anyone says. Miami, I've been to Miami several times. The mayor of there knows me very well. There's been this competition between Mayor Adams and Mayor Suarez and everything, with all things tech. But it's really the resiliency that New York City has. People, no matter what, even if we go out of business in 1 year, we still come back. And everyone who went to Miami, now they're complaining. Every time I go to Miami, they complain they want to come back over here. They just need to come back. It's inundated. It's boring already. You can get just so much sun and so much sand and the same bars. What's new? Everyone from all over the world comes to New York City at the end of the day because this is the melting pot of everything. Tech, fashion, whatever you want to name it, just all cultures, we embrace it here. So we do have some work to do to maybe not mimic what other cities are doing, but really just, learn from their implementation portion. What makes New York City even, aside that we're diverse, it's the autonomy, right? There's just so much autonomy here. No two buildings are alike. It's very, very rare with exception to NYC, the projects. But everyone's bar, or unless you have, this is the first time I come to this place, so I doubt that there's another place exactly like this unless you go to California.
There's no place like Spring Place.
Exactly, that's what I thought. So it's hard. It's really complex because we have a lot of antiquated systems, and policy has not caught up to that. Policy it impedes from us to really move in technology as fast as we want.
Speaking about policies and leaving taxes aside, so there is, you're the executive director in the mayor's office of innovation, right? And so I was actually surprised that position exists or that office exists.
It's a newly created office by Mayor Adams because he's just so dope like that, right?
So I love that, and specifically also, dabbling. We had a couple of different people here on stage, VP of Innovation of LVMH, VP of Innovation of Warner Music Group, and so forth. So everybody is in that realm of blockchain, Web3 in general, AI, all of these new things that come around, right? And it seems like everybody just slaps the innovation title onto that.
Yes.
If you look at other cities in that realm, specifically pertaining to your field, have you seen policies that you personally would love to see implemented, or where is New York maybe a little behind? Do you see some examples where?
Well, yes, the word innovation has been it's so diluted right now. I would agree with that portion that everyone smacks that on their title. The mayor, he took him 3 months to decide what he wanted to call our office, to be honest with you. It took him 3 months, and every day I was giving him different names. And I'm like, just say I'm the boss, BITCH, that's it, right? That's it, give me this office. But what policy, how can I say this? I think that it would really help if there was some legislators, city council people. Everyone gets on social media to complain about everything. That's the worst. That's the reason, you understand. That's the reason I didn't want to get my Twitter out over here. I was like, absolutely not. Because they will find a reason to complain. There's a lot of complainers. And unfortunately, a lot of the people who are in office right now, they are emotionally driven by the social media presence and the complaints that are there, and they feel like that's the everyday news. And unfortunately, on top of that, it's that we have journalists now that are not real journalists, right? They're dabbling. They rely on you to have a conversation so you would give them the headline. And now I step away from that. I respect old school journalists who do the work, the research, and then they'll say, hey, this is catchy, or they'll have some morale and say, I'm not speaking about this because there's more to it, more than I can understand. Here, we have a lot of people in office who are, again, moved by the emotions of social media and the small groups who you see everywhere, and those are the people who impede us from doing the work that we really want to do. For instance, even with housing and the migration issue that we have, the asylum seekers right now, there's groups who are saying that the mayor is not doing anything for them. Do you know how many people are here? No one knows. No one really follows it. You only see what you want to see in the news. And it's not taxpayers' dollars. We have no federal fund. And there's not enough workers, city workers, to deal with this crisis. Everyone's being pulled, including myself, from my office, to assist with this one emergency. That's bad because I don't get to focus on what I'm getting paid to focus on, right? So I think that the city can do better in it, but also more importantly, I think other legislators who put policy in place can be more lenient and understanding of and exude a little bit more empathy to the people who are really doing the work, especially the mayor and his team, right? So that way it can make it easier for us to implement technology. For instance, I'm gonna give you something. I met with somebody, I can't say the company, but they come from politics from California. Great platform. We need it. It's already implemented in other states. We desperately need it right here in New York City, desperately, because it will help us with the issue that we have with asylum seekers and identifying housing. But what happened? I had a meeting with them, and it's like it has to go through a board review and 10,000 people. But I'm explaining to them this is an emergency. We need something like this because we don't have the manpower to really to make the decisions and review applications so that we can identify housing, right? For the people who are already in the shelter, because the idea is to move the people from the shelters, New Yorkers that have been there for like 2 years, so that we can open up the space for the asylum seekers, right? Like do a swap. So even putting that system in place has been so tedious, cumbersome. You have to fight with folks, and then right away they take to social media to complain that the mayor said no about he didn't want ketchup on a hamburger that he doesn't even eat because he's vegan. You understand? Like those are sound bites that we are struggling with every day.
Yeah, I can see. I mean, when it comes to that, the handrails, the handcuffs that you basically have on there, that's in the legislation or in the mayor office, process, right? What do you see is missing in our culture of innovation in the city, like bringing these companies that you just met, like from California? Why is that not a New York company? Is there something that you would like to implement in the city that could actually foster more more innovation culture?
Yeah, I would definitely give them a tax incentive. That's
Great
very
idea.
important.
Fantastic
but
idea.
also do more than that, right? SPS, small business services, they know right now that there's a lot of available space, commercial available space. So be able to identify and give them like pop-up space if they need to. And one of the things that I do in my office when I do meet with anyone in the tech sector, because I dabbled in every different market, the first requirement as the only Latina who sits there, my counterpart is a white man, and we know tech is predominantly white men. We play good cop, bad cop. I right away say, are you hiring locally? Where's the diversity in your team? We need equity. I try to see who sits on their board. I challenge everyone because I'm a New Yorker. That's what we do. So I go right in, and I think that there has to be policy somewhere around there where it's mandated to hire a percentage that's locally. And if the person wants to grab them from high school, not everyone wants to get into tech because they think, like my niece and nephew who are in high school right now, they believe that tech only has to do with social media and for them to be on a platform to make money, and everybody wants to make fast money. So I think that we need to put policy for businesses, give them tax incentives, hire locally a good percentage, at least a 40% locally, diverse, and put some of these folks on boards, right? And show them, let them shadow you so they can be inspired, because we lack that right now. No one's being inspired.
I mean, I wouldn't say that. I'm from Germany.
I mean, in my side,
On your
a bit in government.
I'm from Germany, and I lived the last 10 years in Berlin before I came here. And so there's a lot of similarity when it comes to the melting pot, right? So a lot of different cultures coming together. And I think that's one of the inspiring things about New York City is that you have so many different perspectives coming together and working together. So I love this about the city, I have to say. I mean, I'm a big fan. However, in that context, You mentioned also earlier with the shelters, and unfortunately that leads also to the high cost of living, right? So there's a high cost of living in the city. We know that. There's a high cost for businesses to rent office space, and there's a lot of changes in the now happening with work from home, etc. Are there any particular policies that your administration is putting in place to not fight, but I mean, there's a lot of real estate open right now that is empty office buildings, commercial buildings, etc., to help transition this into this new era? We
are working on policy. We had to. So the department, I'm going to say DOB, the Department of Buildings, that's been the one agency that I think a number of people, I don't know if there's any developers here, building developers management. Okay, so that's during the campaign, I got a lot of complaints from developers, construction workers. Everyone complained about DOB. And because my background was in construction, I completely understood that there's a lot of silos there between the commissioner and every deputy commissioner, and then the inspectors who go out to the sites. They all operate on their own agenda. So at least in the past, they did in prior administrations, not in this administration. The vision, the mayor's vision is consistent, and he has people like myself to make sure that people are following his vision. So when I go to DOB, one of the issues is they're very behind in technology, and these are the people who give you permits, right? We need to change local laws which come from the city council. They vote on it, they change certain things, and we also have to change zoning. I mentioned the autonomy of the city, right? There's no buildings that look alike. A lot of the zonings change from 2 steps away from this building to the next, and you cross the street, the zones have changed to accommodate this building, right? If this is a complete commercial zone, there's a lot of policy, a lot of meetings, a lot of ULURPs, community advocacy that takes place before they change the zoning, which then would encourage the developer to build a nice building like this and put whatever they want on it, right? That system has been broken for a very long time. So what he has been implementing is obviously a huge change, even if it's forced upon some of these agency heads, which they're already getting the drift because it's already a year and a half into the administration. And he's been signing a lot of executive orders. I don't know if everyone's following him, but to change the time frame of that, conversion. So before you could sit on this for a year and a half, now he's encouraged it to happen in 90 days in certain places. Obviously, the community boards still they're allowed to vote and same things, but this also helps a lot of the landlords who have been coming to us over the years that they want to convert, like they say, their hotels to shelters or even their commercial buildings. There's a lot of retrofitting, but the conversation we're still with having conversation with the state on giving them tax incentives, right? Because the conversion of a commercial building changes when you make it residential in the inside. So that talk has been taking place. It'll be coming to your theaters soon. You'll be seeing it on media, but we are already working on that. And it really also has to do with landlords following through on their part, because there's a site safety issue, and there's also the mayor has been telling people, get your butts back to work. I don't know if you've been seeing that before. Now he's been dabbling with we got to do like a hybrid. You could work remote. Today we had a conversation and he's like, look, Denise, no one's coming to work. I noticed that. The people who were trying to get back to work, they're not coming. And he's been trying to get private sectors to get their workers in so that we can keep, restaurants open, because we need to keep the business flowing. So it's been a challenge, but we are doing it. Trust me, before the 4 years are over this term, you're going to see a lot of changes.
You just mentioned that if people follow him, where would you recommend right now for this particular issue, if people are interested in office space changes, etc., where should they follow, or who should they follow?
You can contact me at any time. I'm more than happy to facilitate those connections. But we also have, if you follow his page, there's a Ask, I believe it's called Ask Eric NYC, and he's on all his social media platforms. There's a QR code that when you watch his press conference, there's a little QR code in the front of his podium, and there if you sign up to his page, he literally texts you back. He goes back and forth with you. He'll ask. It asks a couple of questions like, what are you interested in? If it's tech or something in your community, then what we do, it's a special platform, but it's pretty cool. He loves to give his number out to everybody. I don't know if anybody has met him, but he will literally be like, hey, give me your phone, and he'll put his phone number in your phone. So he texts you back, and he just engages, and he wants to hear new ideas. So if there is anything, please, talk to me afterwards. If there's anything that you guys want me to take back to the mayor, I'm more than happy to give him suggestions.
Like an 8.5 million contact folder, in his phone.
Well, not for the following, but I usually, he gets, what people don't understand is that we need to do this, right? This is community. We need to do this. This is where we get good ideas. This is where we can, great ideas, $1 million ideas have come from a quick conversation, right? Like this. But more importantly, he's been doing this for a couple of years where that's where he understands that he needs to do change within his administration. He was campaigning that way, saying we got to change the way the city has been functioning. It's very dysfunctional. And I think he's been doing a pretty awesome job with the confinements, right? Because again, city councils, they're always coming after him, but he's done it. And part of his GST Get Stuff Done is that we're going to get it done regardless, whether you like it or not, because we understand that change is uncomfortable for a lot of people. But at the end of the day, you need this, right? There's something you need in the change. It's going to benefit you at the end of the day. We're not going to implement anything that's going to take you back. We're going to just move forward with our technology and just our overall existence.
So I mentioned earlier that you can plead the fifth because we had a little bit of a back and forth,
yes,
right?
So
it's my first engagement here with the mayor's office, and so it was interesting to see everything goes through legal.
Yes.
Like, so what can be answered, what not? So no, this is what Mayor Adams has to answer. This is what the CTO has to answer. So I was totally baffled that you guys have a CTO.
We do.
So amazing. And so this question, we talked about this. This is basically the CTO's point of view,
yes.
Right? And I would love to hear, like, with all this rapid changes happening, with rapid change happening in the tech environment, blockchain, boom, Web3 in its entirety, AI, today's ChatGPT, tomorrow your avatar goes to work. And so all of these things are happening so fast, and there's so many, just even on the federal side, so many policies that need to be still made. How does your CTO prepare for that to ensure that New York stays on like the cutting edge of things? What are some plans there?
Well, one of the things that he's implemented, I believe, the beginning of this year, we have the My City app, and that was a central portal for all city agencies. Every agency just has been operating on their own, different silos. No one speaks to each other, and people, one of the things that most of our constituents have been a couple of complaints, and from businesses, has been, why do I need to create a profile for every single agency? So the My City app is a central portal where from that one app, you create one profile there, and then it will be extended to all of the city agencies. That's something that he has implemented with, at the request of the Mayor Adams. And we still have a couple of things that we're dabbling on right now. The issue has been that we have some major contracts from our prior administration where we pay a lot of millions of dollars, and we have to allow these companies to do their work, right? So it's how do you salvage the contract that was there and still get a bang for the buck. Mayor Adams is very, very, one of the things I always tell people, I'm like, he's frugal. He's very frugal. So he's very keen on taxpayer dollars. He wants to make sure that there's transparency, that people know where the money is going, what we're spending money on. And if there's anything that we can identify where the prior administration has been just recklessly just spending money, right? It's been ruthless. The CTO has been done a good with our work, because we work together as well. We've identified agencies where they just spend so much money. For instance, during the pandemic, they spend so much money on buying iPads for our students, and surprisingly, they were talking about some of the iPads didn't work in shelters and certain areas, right, within the city. But what we found out is that all these iPads were stored in one place. And we spent so much money they weren't being put to use.
They weren't even distributed.
They weren't even put to use. And do you know the money that we spent on this?
Yeah,
It's ridiculous. And that was just like an abrupt, contract, a payment that it was the prior administration. So what we're doing is that we're taking inventory of where the money was being spent in the prior administration. We're still cleaning it up a lot. And still instilling transparency so that people can understand that we're doing a lot of the work, cleaning up the work that was a mess, and then also implementing of where can we be more mindful of how we're spending money, but still advancing the city. We have to be very careful also with security, right? So the CTO travels a lot. We both traveled a lot to other conferences, and the mayor gave us last year, his thing was go everywhere and find the best of the best and bring it back to me. And we have. And still to this day.
Bring it back to him for your administration or
for the administration,
to New York?
To New York for the administration. And there's a lot of legalities, right? A lot of legal issues that we can't implement right away because it needs to really benefit the city and our safety. And, data is very important. Everyone wants to hack our information over here. And we have a lot of people in New York City that we have to protect. So that's an issue. But they're in front of him. I literally, every day I bring new tech, new businesses, whether it's cannabis, whether it's the best way to get pharmaceutical needs to senior citizens. We bring so much of the new technology to him, and it's not sitting at the table with him. He sees everything. It's really the implementation and the legal portion that takes a little longer than what we expect.
Is that, you mentioned the My City app. That's the app name?
Yes, that's an actual app. Everybody can go online and look at the My City app. It's an actual app we encourage every constituent from New York City to be on it because it gives you updates on everything, literally on everything. If there's a dog in the corner, if there's something, if there's anybody who needs some, benefits, special benefits, it's on there. And it's just one platform so people can see all the things that the city offers.
Yeah, so because I definitely encourage you guys for the Q&A section to think about questions already because it's a community, right? Yeah. So, for Denise to take back all the issues that you might have or the things that need to be fixed or things like to think about, right? How can we tackle specific problems that the tech industry has with New York, mm-hmm. right? And how can we make it better? So in that regard, like going through that process, Is there a specific program right now within that My City app or others that tech entrepreneurs or people that have specific business needs can go to directly? Is the My City app the best address?
Yeah, the My City app is the best address because right there you're going to see a couple of benefits from the SBS agency, the small business. They have amazing new technology that's going on over there and more. We found a lot of new funds and grants and ways to help people and navigate the system, right? If somebody wants to get a street permit for any crazy reason or they want to pop up or a concert or just you want to do something from your business, bring it outside a block party, everything's on there. I literally still have people texting me that I helped them when I worked in Brooklyn, the constituents asking me for like simple street permits or my mother is sick and she needs to get like a handicap permit. They don't know where to go to. So now My City app, everything is there. There's a lot of, and also I wanted to tap on something too. It also helps with the 311 service that we have. 311 is a little antiquated, but we have some new fun stuff we're introducing.
Awesome. So there's a chatbot AI.
Yeah. We did a summit. We hosted a summit in May at Gracie Mansion. I challenged all of our agency heads, our commissioners, and the CIOs to come out and meet with I had about like 50 something companies from all over the world that wanted to come and showcase their AI, the chatbot and just all things, right? We had to play with the mayor's schedule. So I don't know if anybody really see how Eric Adams is. We got to contain him after that 30 minutes, it's like he's leaving. So it's like, how am I going to have him here for the whole day? So we brought it down to like 15 companies and we literally narrowed it down. I said, you have like 3 minutes to do your pitch and then 3 minutes for Q&A because some of these commissioners never seen your stuff. They don't know what AI, they don't know what chatbot, they don't know any of these things. And we need, we want you to touch base and meet with these folks. So I think it was like a kid. He was like a kid in the candy store. The mayor, he came in and he's seeing all this advanced technology, and he's like, "Why aren't we doing this?" And I'm like, "Okay, why aren't we doing this?" Right? So, and then it just challenged the commissioners and these agency heads to really dabble down this. Right? They need bots. They need, especially for like basic data stuff, right? Entry.
Yeah.
We want to implement that. So we are in a place where with the summit was very successful. We opened a lot of conversation, and a lot of the agency heads, they're very they're operating in antiquated systems, so they're comfortable where they're at. It works for them, so they don't see the need for change. But they were really excited by the summit. They were excited to see the excitement in Mayor Adams' eyes, and we allowed them to autonomously reach out to the companies that they liked. We're not going to force them to. Prior administrations, usually if they say we're going to do Microsoft, everyone had to deal with Microsoft. Now, Mayor Adams is saying, well, find what company you like best, you see fit for your agency needs, and then we'll support it. And I think you never had a mayor that would do that. So the fact that we can have literally 15 different companies to come in and service different agencies, but still have to integrate with each other, that's going to be fun.
Is there some sort of like a think tank, internal think tank, where you invite entrepreneurs or tech companies to like, open
Something
your eyes?
like
Is there something like that?
Yes,
It's okay if not.
Yeah.
I would love that.
Yeah.
That would be a fantastic opportunity for like the companies of New York City to pitch in, like the different ideas.
Yes,
right?
we don't want to call it anything specifically right now, only because like a think tank, what I told him when the mayor told me, I want this and this, I want companies to come and pitch to me. And I said, like a Shark Tank, you want them to pitch to you / think tank? We've never done this. But because I am very resilient, I'm very innovative, I love challenges, I said, well, we'll make this happen. Obviously I had to go through legal and make sure that we can do it. So we can't promise anyone anything, but it was just having the platform of conversing with him and seeing people, right? And identifying what these agencies really need so that we can really service them better. He's really created an open door policy with everyone. So everyone's really comfortable with him now, where before they were a little afraid, but now it's like, oh, he really wants us to work efficiently. And that's a key thing.
Yeah.
So,
and this is off script now. We didn't talk about this before, but do you remember there was this initiative? I still see this in the subway, where specifically also for film and media, there's the New York City NY badge that you can have then on your website, and there's like support from the New York mayor's office for different industries to support that. Maybe somebody else knows that, if I don't know it or you don't know it, is there something of that sort, like a badge, New York City badge of honor, if you're a tech company and you want to apply for a grant or something of that sort?
Do you want us to give you a badge of honor?
I love that.
I can take that back to the mayor.
Yeah, I love that.
Apple.
That would be, yes, a big apple. No, something of an incentive system that really works with the different tech companies here in the city, that really also shows the support of the mayor's office, where, okay, we believe in this technology, we believe in this company. I don't know if that's the same way it was done with the media companies and with the film companies. I mean, quick hand saying, who has seen this in the subway? Am I the only one here? It's like, oh, wow.
So it was probably from the prior administration. Maybe it was a movement from the prior administration initiative.
Could be, yeah.
I'll check that out.
I would love to know.
I'll dabble a little bit of that. I try. I'm going to be very honest here, and they'll hold me accountable for this. But all things from the prior administration, I just threw it out the window, and I said, let's just start fresh. I don't want to have that.
That's actually from the New York City Film Commission.
Was it? Okay.
The Film Commission, which is under. It's under. Of media and it is.
By the way, just to introduce myself quickly. I'm Simon Applebaum. I'm the producer and host of Tomorrow Be Televised, the promo about TV's current and future on Blog Talk Radio, Speaker to Radio, and podcast. It's
You did that.
Office of
Media.
Andy Castillo, who is the head of that office, has been in our show. And I think what you're talking about is the Made in New York.
Made in New York thing, yes.
Where, if you see like blank show, like Billions, is produced by Showtime in New York City, it will say underneath Eric Adams, the mayor, and Andy Castillo to show people, hey, it's produced today.
Okay, that I know of. Yes, that I know of.
Thank you.
Yes.
Appreciate it.
But he said a badge of honor. We don't really sponsor a lot of things. But
No,
Made in
I
New
mean,
York is a big thing.
I see it as a badge of honor.
So I will say to that effect, and thank you for clarifying all that. one is, I don't know if anything is made in New York. But he's been highlighting that a lot because he wants to make sure that we keep companies here. When companies do come to meet with us, so our department, and they say they're a New Yorker, they made in New York, that just gives them the more, we put them to the top of the list. It does. It's like a badge of honor. We do put it to the top of the list, and we do let the mayor know that this is something to really consider and look at right away. But we do encourage, listen, this city, look, let's be realistic. This city is made of immigrants from all over the world. I don't care how long you've been here, whether you were born here. Somebody came from somewhere. So he doesn't close the doors to anyone, right? This is a city of dreams, the country of dreams, but more importantly, this city. So we encourage everyone to come and make their money right in New York City and pay those taxes.
I love it. I love it. Wonderful, wonderful. So this is a great signal to transition this over into our Q&A section. But before we do, I would love to again introduce this space here because it's also our sponsor. And so what I said earlier, after this session, we're going to go onto the roof and then we're going to have a party down here. So it's a really great community space. And if I may ask Susanna to come in front of here, say a quick word about Spring Place and how you can also become a member. And I'm going to set up here the microphones. You want to?
Oh, okay. Sometimes you never know. Hi, everyone. I know some of you. I'm Susanna. I'm Senior Vice President over here at Spring Place for New York and Beverly Hills. First of all, thank you, Jen, for always putting a really great panel conversation together. Really, really appreciate it. And we do love the mayor's office. By a show of hands, because I am curious, how many of you have not visited Spring Place before? Nice. And by a show of hands, how many of you have heard of Spring Place? All right. And by a show of hands, how many of you know the difference between Spring Studios and Spring Place? There we go. So to make things a little bit easier, Spring has been around for 25 years. Spring Studios, where it's a 360 agency, and also they produce some amazing experiential events as well as branding activations in the studios, which are on the opposite side of Spring Place. So you probably have walked by and saw these white boxes, and they look empty, but they transform into Tribeca Film Festival. It transforms into the Wall Street Journal Future of Everything Festival. It transforms into the Independent Art Fair, and so on and so on. In 2016, we opened Spring Place, which is the private members club. And so we have the co-working floors and the private offices and the dedicated desk and social memberships, so that regardless of where you are professionally, if you are truly looking to connect with like-minded entrepreneurs, individuals in the creative space, if you are looking to just meet individuals that are probably, as I say, not posers, but doers, then Spring Place is a really great community to be a part of. A lot of individuals don't know that Fenty started out of Spring Place. Hailey Bieber, Rose Skincare started out of Spring Place. We have about 18 unicorn companies that started out of Spring Place. That's the ecosystem that we have here. So we invite everyone to enjoy the experience that you have with the panel, but then, yeah, go up to the rooftop, have an Aperol Spritz, because we are owned by Italians, so we do make the best spritzes. But get to know each other, get to know our spaces, and you will receive, for those of you who did RSVP but then actually showed up this evening, you will receive an email from us to take advantage of a complimentary day pass to work out of any of our social spaces or of our co-working spaces for a day. And then if you have any questions, just let us know. Sounds good? Beautiful.
Wonderful.
Right. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Susanna. All right, so let's open up here the Q&A section. And for you, I don't know if you saw my email.
I would do my best.
If you saw my email also requesting a little recommendation of a book or something. Did we talk about? Yeah, okay. You have time. All right, so who wants to start? So, wait a second. You put up your hand first, so let me walk over there. There's like multiple microphones here.
Thank you so much. Without conflating Web3 blockchain and even large language models with AI, how does the city view AI in terms of opportunities or even threats in the next couple of years, I guess?
Well, we plan to implement AI now in all of our city agencies. We're a little behind on the ball on this, but the mayor has been very adamant on we need to add AI to all of our things. There is some legal issues because of having to deal with NYPD and other city agencies because people really want the autonomy of having privacy. But we're working through that, the legislation, so you'll be seeing it soon. Mayor Adams is an advocate for AI, whatever it looks like, right? Right now, he said, one of the meetings he said today, he said, well, AI, bots, that's the way to go this way because, I don't think anyone's coming to work. The ones who are already working remote, and I think the city is not, unless we can produce work visas for the asylum seekers that are here so they can start doing the everyday hard work, it's going to be hard to fill offices. So, yeah, it's coming to you soon. By the way, I know we mentioned blockchain before. Last year was a year that we were talking so much about blockchain and, digital assets. The mayor has been an advocate about that as well. So there's one of the agencies that we have already implemented blockchain use. That has been
we can make him an avatar in a video game.
Well, you're thinking about blockchain in that sense.
I
So
do.
like with the metaverse and things like that. But we're not there yet. We're letting the private sector have fun with that so far. But one day we'll get involved. I'm like baby steps for people, baby steps.
Like thinking about blockchain in a medical sense, maybe, or like medical.
Yeah, we're using blockchain now in with health and hospitals. And a couple of the other, there's like 2-3 agencies that we're just trying to utilize and see how it works and if it's a good backup system. So, but everyone, again, if you're used to operating one way with one operating system, we strategize is the implementation portion that's taking a little longer, but all things AI. Did I answer your question? I want to make sure.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
I already passed.
Pass
could
that
you
mic
pass the
down.
mic
Okay.
over? There's a.
We kind of need a designated person to walk around with the mic. How about
Okay. I have a quick question for the audience. Raise your hands. How many of you have a smart TV set or a smart TV device?
that? There you go. That's AI right there. Boom.
That's right.
Yep.
It is artificial intelligence software, Denise, in those sets, a growing majority of them, which, by the way, are now owned by 90% of all U.S. households, that allow you to control the set with your voice remote. You can play a video game now on your television set without using a console like a Sony PlayStation or an Xbox because you have a joystick that works with the software. We are seeing a lot of things happen now with smart TV sets and devices. More television networks, including networks owned by people of color, are now trying to get on with multi-channel bundles. You are now seeing interactive games. You're seeing people being able to order products and services on the television set, again, using their voice. We even have a set now called Telly, which is now being offered free to as many as 500,000 people. They have a, by the way, office here in New York where they're showing demos of this. If they do very well with this 500,000, they're going to offer millions more free. You do have to give personal information about yourself, but allow you to get personalized ads, maybe do sports betting on the television set. This raised the question, what kind of conversations is your office having about the role of smart TV sets and devices and encouraging more of a clearinghouse to encourage, let's say, mobile developers to put their developers on the television set? You mentioned the My City app. Is there any talk about perhaps making that a smart TV app as well as a mobile app? You have a television channel called NYC Life, which is already doing original television shows. It is a smart TV app also on Samsung or Vizio or LG or Roku. Why not do a version of My City on the TV set and maybe work with Andy Castillo and our Office of Media Entertainment to try to have a clearinghouse where we all are educated about what we can do with television, what's coming down the pike, because there's a lot of stuff coming down, including the opportunity maybe to work with venture capitalists, angel investors to create companies that develop smart TV apps currently and future.
That's a great question, and more importantly, a great idea, which I'm going to take back to the mayor. I don't think we're there yet. We haven't been there yet. We just implemented the My City app because we figured that there was too many agencies weren't speaking to each other, and the everyday constituent was complaining of the headaches of getting around the system and not understanding the system that exists in New York City. So to implement that as an app on a TV would be exceptionally great. I would definitely take that back.
I think so. I mean, good point.
Yeah,
because
I never thought of that, but thank you.
you get a lot of the youth obviously on
Yeah,
their
on
phones, on the different social media channels, but you definitely don't get them on the TV. You probably get them a lot. You get the older generations on the TV, right? Those are the ones that you can
that's
actually.
exactly what I'm thinking is a great idea. I will have to go back and figure out what's the policy and how does that look like for us. Because that channel that we do have has been a channel that's been existing, I believe, during Bloomberg's time administration. So
no worries, it's all recorded. I'm gonna send you the
and then
recording.
obviously the big thing is money, right? Funds. Where is it coming from? So I would definitely have to go back and find out where we are with
Thank
funds.
you for the question.
Welcome.
I've one microphone over there already, and okay, you're gonna take it. The gentleman over there, here in the back, and there's
Hi.
more question popping up.
Hi, Mart. I'm a creative lead on the tech team at Amex, and thank you for doing this. It has been amazing. So I'm going to start by saying, please don't have the mayor completely give up on in-person work. I think companies are going to start to realize three big things. One, culture matters, and culture is created in person. Two, in-person collaboration in some industries is just going to give a better end product. And three, most relevant to New York, they're going to realize that the kind of person who's willing to move and leave their life behind to move to New York City to do big things it acts as a filtration system to have the highest caliber of employees, and that filtration itself is worth it. So please have them not give up. But so on that note, I was wondering if you've had a chance to take a look at Tulsa Remote, the very successful Tulsa Remote program. So Tulsa, a city that most people wouldn't want to live, is becoming a tech hub because they have this program where they lure people, tech leaders in with a $10,000 grant. And then they have all these programs built in to keep them there. And it's got like a 90-something percentage. People are going for the $10,000 and staying because they're filling in the needs that they didn't have. And so I was going to recommend that perhaps look at those programs. There wouldn't be the need. We don't need to lure in New York people with $10,000, but maybe what are some of the things that are holding back? I think there's an incredible opportunity right now to bring in folks in tech because San Francisco, where I lived before, has become unlivable. It's just a mess right now. Disagree. I'm sorry. The personal opinion. I just think my neighborhood where I was, there's like open. Yeah, it's not the same thing. For some, I shouldn't be that broad, but it's become tougher in certain circumstances. And then there's also you have in Florida and Texas, you've got political reasons why people might want to leave, and so. Have you started thinking about ways in which you could sort of take advantage of those other problems that the three most popular states are having in order to sort of steal that talent away?
And also get Sylvester Stallone as brand ambassador like Tulsa get.
Oh, so make sure that we connect after this so I get a little more information from that. I like Sylvester Stallone. Okay, I get it. I think that at the end of the day, we're not competing with other cities. I want to make sure that we make that clear. New York, there's no one like New York. There's no place like New York. I don't care what people say or think or whatever. Period. I'm going to make that very clear. We can only try to go to these cities and understand what their issue is and where the disconnect is. But at the heart of what you said, one of the things you said about remote, don't encourage remote, hybrid. I'm with Eric Adams. I've been working since day one. During the pandemic, we worked. We were taking our butts right to the office, and if we couldn't be in the office, and I probably caught COVID like 3 times because I kept going and knocking on doors and taking food to senior citizens. I'm a people person. I love to be out. So one of the things that I do highly encourage, to your point, is you build resiliency and, a little more thick skin, but we do definitely need community when you're going out to work, when you're socializing, right? There's a lot of mental health issues because people don't know how to deal with certain feelings and emotions that they're feeling. They don't know how to really be problem solvers, so they break down. So there's a downside to working remote and in silos. But understanding from these, we met with mayors from these cities that you mentioned, and everyone, complains about the same thing, right? Homelessness is too expensive, taxes, business don't want to exist because they have a lot of homeless issues in front of them. Then the garbage, the garbage was the main issue for us here in New York. We tried several things, and still implementing more new products over here so that we can get rid of the rats, right? There's always something people are complaining, so we're working on what's really priority, right? Safety in New York City, and then, homelessness and a good shelter for everyone, a good environment, a healthy environment. Again, back to safety, because that's the number one things people were complaining, more so than taxes, and then obviously garbage. But what we've been learning from these other cities is, and this is like an inside joke of mine, where I'm like, it's the same people, they just move around. They're just a troublemaker, they move around. They go to every city. That's like my inside joke. It's like, keep them away, let's blacklist them, they can't get in. So, but we can't do that. So I think, I would love to hear about the program you were mentioning and see how we can, I can't say really incentivize, but more so figure out if there's available grants from the state that we can play with and help some of these companies to stay here and encourage, coming into work more so. And then also, I think we need to do more community engagement and find out what are really the needs for that community, right? In this area in Soho. Because what works in Soho, what works in Brooklyn doesn't work in Queens. And I think that's the disconnect with a lot of the boroughs and the folks in different groups, settings. It's what can we do? I have a lot of the we're really focusing a lot of on education and low income, and there's inequality and not enough equity, but I almost feel like the message is being sent, it's just people don't want to see the message. So to this young fella's idea is we might have to go on TV more often outside from the news, right? Because people only watch the news that they want to. The kids are watching social media. We've been hitting every platform, but we don't even know how else to get it to people's heads, right? So we're open to more new creative suggestions, and I'll take it back to him,
Thank you.
Okay.
Good question. Yeah, we're gonna just invite you more often here, so you have a big.
You know
panel
what?
event.
I would just make like a whole task.
Oh yeah,
and take it
100%.
back.
Don't get rid of the rats. They're an
really,
institution.
No, we don't. Like the mayor hates rats. I kick them. I have no problem hitting them and killing them myself, but he hates them, and I think he expressed it in every press conference. I hate rats. Yeah.
We have another question over here, and yeah,
Hi.
perfect.
So I want to commend you on the work that Eric Adams is doing with rooftops. I saw that he inaugurated a farm in Staten Island, and that
Can you put the microphone a little bit?
he's pursuing cannabis farms on NYC rooftops. So I'm really curious.
We can't do that, just so you know. We cannot do that.
The feds aren't
that's
letting you do that. Yeah, well,
I'm
it's a
sorry to
shame.
disappoint you. Yeah.
So I'm really curious because I think rooftops are some of the most underutilized space in the city. So I'd like to hear what the plan and what the vision is as far as the rooftops.
Okay, so I don't know if I know there's not a lot of people in construction or building owners development, but local law 97 already hit, and that's on sustainability. So a lot of these older buildings, these beautiful, unique buildings, they need to retrofit their buildings for electricity, right? To go solar panels. A lot of the rooftops are going to be space is going to be taken to retrofit and create solar panels and windmills because of the sustainability portion that we are obligated to, to embrace. That's a local law plus a state law plus a federal. So you're gonna see some ugly stuff on top of some roofs. I'm gonna just warn you right now. But the mayor has been encouraging this on utilizing rooftop to grow farms, hydroponics, cannabis, and everything since his borough presidency. There's a lot of underutilized space. Even in NYC, we can't do the rooftop, but we can play with open space area that they have that's being underutilized to create farming, right? They have a lot of, he's been big on teaching people to grow their own vegetables. So we have a lot of programs. A lot of CBOs been funded so they can teach the community how to grow their own food from those spaces. Rooftop spaces, aside that it's real estate for a lot of private developers, there's been a lot of conversation on figuring out how we can give we're still not there yet with the tax incentive, but how we can retrofit and help encourage more folks to utilize rooftop for growing. A green, that was part of the green initiative with the prior administration through one of the council members. I believe it was Espinal.
Are there like new buildings? Do they have already these obligations to either put solar panels
So
or
new
maybe
buildings
green?
are already building. Well, there's some buildings that they're grandfathered in already with the building permits. If they already got the permits to do new construction, they could get away with it. They have they grandfathered in. But yeah, there's gonna be a lot of new buildings that they're gonna have to really figure it out how we're gonna do this. This local law doesn't benefit every building, because I know there's a lot of buildings in these areas. The high rises are just too high compared to the 4-story building next to it, so they're not getting any solar, energy. So we're still dabbling. The city's still dabbling with that. It's an intense process. You have no idea. I think one of the city agencies is really having a hard time figuring it out, and then also sending their inspectors of how to cautiously meet with people on this, right? Because we don't want every building to get a fine smacked on them, and they have no idea this was implemented. So we're going that route. We're definitely going the green sustainable route. It's mandatory, so it's coming, and there's a lot of new innovative products that's coming that instills a lot of windmill and solar panels and safe windmills, right? We want to make sure we tell people that, not a turbine. So it's coming.
No bird death.
Yeah, we want no deaths, we want no issues, yeah.
Thank you for the question. Rachel.
I really, really love, my question was going to be, how can we bring more, how can you be a convener of our best talent? All the talent wants to be in New York, right? And we all want to be. I also love your passion for New York, so thank you for that with my North Carolina accent. But I've lived here 13 years and have a New York driver's license and pay my taxes now.
Great. Thank you.
Yeah, amen.
Thank you, ma'am.
In the meantime, can we please keep convening, and can you use our community here locally? Like the Spring Place community is so beautiful. Jan is such an amazing convener. And any way we can support you convening to get the answers to these great questions, just please engage us as a leader, and that's just an invitation. And I just want to see, please, as much as we can convene, gather the data and information. Tech will take it and go with it. We don't need permission in the tech world. We need convening and access to community consensus, and that's what's missing. We don't have consensus, and all the data is not democratized yet. So that's where we need help in innovation, and you have the power to do that.
I do, and thank you for that. I appreciate the invitation, and you're very kind. I think that more gatherings, I'll be more than happy to become a member of this club.
Here you go.
And to come, hopefully I'll bring the mayor over too, because I think
he was here before. He was
he?
Yeah, he was checking out Sunset Social before.
Oh,
Had
nice.
a good time.
Oh, good.
So we gotta bring him back.
So we bring him back. One of these, we sit him up here in the hot seat, ask some questions. But thank you for that. A lot of the companies that we have met, we've highly encouraged them to continue to do what you're doing, and the city will catch up eventually. We will catch up, because it's just motivating us, right? It's driving us to. The mayor is, again, he's like a big kid in the candy store. He's like, why are they doing it? We're not. And once he start asking his why, which is very important, it just drives him, and everyone has to get the agenda done. The CTO knows that if the mayor wants this, we need to get it done. We need to implement it. But again, it goes back to if there's enough funding, if legal allows it, and this is my personal opinion. I would love a lot of the folks that have been working for the city for a long time to just retire, because there's so much wonderful talent. There's so much wonderful talent that they're being overlooked, right? And I think that if we allow them to become leaders at the table, we can really move the city forward the way the mayor wants. But it's just that there's a lot of folks that are just stopping it. And unfortunately, this is just the way, the cookie crumbles in business to some extent. But we have to protect them. And that's just my personal opinion. But I've in the past year, I've been going to different agencies and just sitting and convening with them and figuring out what is the need, what is the problem, how can we be problem solvers, how can we engage and help you, right, to speed this along. And that has been the hiccup, the number one complaint.
Are they advisory positions? A serious question. Are there like advisors that you bring on for like a year or something?
No, we have internal folks, internal advisors, but so we highly suggest that outside private sector meet with them and also with us. And then, we try to project manage and see it through if there's something that can be implemented. But we're also at the same time working. The mayor implemented the MWBE, where if they're in tech, they can not, I guess, like streamline on getting city contracts, and not saying bypassing the RFP, but giving more opportunity to Black and brown businesses. So that was something that he implemented. Where before they were only getting like 30% of contracts, now there's like 50%, and that was a good implementation. It helps a lot of the new tech companies. I have a wonderful tech company that's New York born. And this young man is a genius, and this is one of the things that I would love to bring to our department, one of the city agencies. So, and we need it. We need to encourage that. So thank you for that. You'll see my face more often here. Young fella.
Wonderful. So 1 second, the lady here had a question. And are we missing one microphone?
I feel like people who are raising their hands, I'm like, ooh, okay.
Where's the second microphone?
No.
Oh, it's over there.
Microphone?
Okay, sorry. Okay, we start in the front. And then we go back, and then we go here.
Okay.
Cool? Yes.
Okay.
All right.
Here, there. Okay.
All right. Hi. I'm a product content manager for a legal AI company that focuses on end-to-end contracts. So we use AI to help speed along the process, which is what you were talking about. So I know that there's a lot of great innovation for AI and the way that it can help us work. I mean, a lot of our clients have actually gone from a multi-week process into possibly with our e-sign innovation actually been able to create and sign contracts within the same business day. So I know that there's a lot of great AI tools out there, and we use a lot of like security regulations and guardrails. But I was wondering if the mayor has any, I guess if there's been conversations about regulation about innovative technology and how we can prevent the abuse of this type of new technology. I think a lot of people, they're hesitant about adopting new technology because of the lack of regulations or the lack of guardrails. And I was wondering if there's been conversation on legislative restrictions and ways to prevent that type of abuse from happening.
That conversation is literally taking place. It's been since last year. We actually been having that conversation legislatively since last year, because we understand that there's a lot of guardrails, and we want to make sure that we protect our New Yorkers. So when it's finalized, you will know. But it's been taking place, and the mayor just wants to expedite that because it's really not allowing us to put some of these systems in place that we really need. But AI is coming to the city. We're going to be working with them with several softwares. So
it's going to be exciting, like this whole expediting all these processes.
It's going to expedite it because again, we don't have the manpower, and what she said, things that take like three weeks to review. If we can get something to be done within a day or two, and then just allow the actual person or supervisor to approve it and overlook it. There's a lot of biases, right, with these bots. And everyone did a great job at bringing all the negative parts of this, right, to the mayor. And I was just like, well, it's still helpful, right? Like, let's see the bright side. I'm super optimistic, just so you know. I see the good in everything. At the end of the day, he knows he wants to implement this. He knows he wants to bring to the city. He understands that efficiency is very important. We have people's lives at stake here who's been waiting for, whether it's a permit or whether it's a voucher or whether it's, public assistance. And just so you know, even making an appointment to go to an office to deal face-to-face with people who are going to shut the door in your face, that creates a lot of anger in folks, right? So the mayor wants to just ease people's days. And by implementing AI, I think it's going to help all of us.
Yeah, test it at the DMV, please, first. That would
Yeah,
be amazing.
So I have 1, 2, and then I think you're going to be
Yeah,
Go
I
this
think
with her, him.
we have him, and then the last one over there, and that's unfortunately it. That
You
we
can
have to
catch me.
close.
You can catch me
Yeah,
afterwards.
she'll stay here.
I'll stay a little longer. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. How do you think congestion pricing is going to impact access and diversity in the city?
Okay, I have to start. I have to start with this is my personal opinion. I hate it. I'm not for it. The congestion pricing is coming. Sorry to say, it's coming, and everyone's. I encourage everyone to put a lawsuit if they don't like it, right? Because it doesn't benefit the real New Yorkers.
Yeah.
It's just this conversation. I think there's other ways to fund the MTA in the deficit, and I've been having this conversation with other folks, and I've been creating other plans of how about we make money here, we make money there to the ferry. You know, there's other ways to really make money to benefit the MTA. Congestion pricing, when it does, because I was told it's going to come no matter what, it's just it's a delay of when it's going to be implemented. It's going to affect everyone. It's going to really encourage. It's going to boost the ridership for city bikes. That's one. For regular mass transit, and more importantly, possibly even ferries. Right? We only have a few ferry lines right now. We've been talking about implementing more ferry lines because what are you going to do? I mean, I drive everywhere because I have to go from borough to borough. A lot of times I have to pass through those areas in Manhattan, and I personally find it unfair. So I'm against it. I don't know how it's really going to impact. I know that there's a lot of small coalitions that are placing lawsuits because they don't want to see it happen. So
Is there a consideration of like doubling the cost for folks outside the 5 boroughs and just keeping the city accessible for those who pay taxes here?
for instance, are you talking about Long Island?
Yeah.
Or Jersey?
Jersey, yeah.
I don't know how to answer that correctly.
It's okay.
Well, for the
Is that
MTA
okay? Because I want to make sure, just so you know, are you? It sounds like you're against congestion pricing, that you're not really in favor of it.
I mean, I'm not for it, especially for folks that are low-income New Yorkers. I think just like it's really concerning that the island of Manhattan is going to be that much more exclusive and inaccessible.
Well, that's really for cars who are driving in a certain area. That's the congestion pricing. It's going to be a specific area in Manhattan. So if you're hailing a cab there, your Uber and whatever you're paying is going to be extra. That's how they're putting that. So
I think to support the MTA, just reduce the temperature in the station by 50 degrees during the summer, and more people will definitely use the MTA.
I agree with that.
Or just give ice packages or something.
Well, you know what? The conversation really is, if I were the mayor, I would just say, what the heck is your problem, right? Like, why you greedy? Why you want some more money? The fares are going up, and it is unfair to a lot of the low-income folks that live here. But at the end of the day, that's a conversation that's still being had. We don't know when it's being implemented, when it's completely being implemented. We might delay it, but we do know it's coming. There might be a couple of interesting new things coming up that might leverage not putting congestion pricing, or at least lowering the price so that we can find more money for the MTA somewhere else. But that is coming, it is going to come. Sorry to disappoint you, but it is going to come.
Thank you for the question. Marcus.
Thank you.
Marcus,
all right. I'm an accountant, so I'm going to ask like a financial question, if you don't mind. So New York's a pretty expensive city. Taxes, everything, levies are high. What are you doing? What is the plan to do to attract startups? Because if I'm a startup, I mean, I have the opportunity. Other cities, right? It's a big move. I mean, Austin's become very popular. I mean, Denver, Salt Lake City. I mean, I still think that San Francisco is like the brain hub when it comes to technological development, because they're all sitting there, can commingle, and it's just a better opportunity. It's also lower taxes, right? And I'm thinking, I mean, New York. I mean, the city did itself a pretty bad PR stunt when, I mean, if I were, like, let's say if I were a tech entrepreneur, I would think about moving to New York, right? And I think about what happened with the Amazon HQ headquarters when a certain politician, whose name I don't want to mention, stood up and said, oh, we shouldn't give $6 billion of, the whatever the tax breaks, right? A tax break is money that the city doesn't collect, and basically said we're not going to collect taxes. And a certain politician stood up and demonstrated incompetence by saying, "Oh, look, we should take those 6 billion given to other people." I mean, you can't give money to people you don't have, right? But that was when I remember back, it's like, look, if I'm a big tech company, big tech entrepreneur, I would never move to New York City because I know the politicians are just against it. It's a populist thing to, of course, to be against it. But what is the city trying to do to lure not the big one, not Amazon, but like a startup? If I'm a startup and I say, look, I'm going to get killed here by taxes and levies, I can go to other places. What is it you offer as an incentive for startups to move here or to stay here?
So I'm gonna start with I made a comment earlier about some of the
taxes.
Taxes and city council. When I said they go by social media, and these are the people who knocked down that whole Amazon headquarter over here. They weren't for it because they didn't really understand. What they put out in the media was false information, right? They didn't understand the tax incentive portion of it, and that you can't just take the money. The money doesn't exist, and it was just like they just don't pay taxes. But the media twisted that soundbite and made it sound like we're giving out taxpayer dollars to this big company who already has money just so they could sit in our backyard. Why not take that money and give it somewhere else? That was the soundbite that most people heard. That's why they shot it down, right? So I want to be clear with that information. I feel that people need to really get educated on what city politics is really doing, because they go right back to social media and then they put these things in your mind, and it doesn't work that way, right? So these are the people, these are the constituents that start rallying and come out, and then you'll see them everywhere. They always complain about everything. So the mayor did put through the SPS portal, they put some tax incentive for some small businesses who want to come in here in New York City. He is still the state had like that when Cuomo was in place. He had the Start NYC. They were giving like 10 years. If you open a business here, whatever kind of business, they will give you some more tax incentives. I believe there's conversation around that again, and really to incentivize tech companies. This mayor, just so you guys know, I want to be clear, he is all for tech hubs being here in New York City. Any business, but more importantly, tech. So he's all for it, and we're still playing and dabbling with a plan of how we can incentivize and encourage more companies to come over here. So that is in the works. I really can't tell you the game plan, but it is in the works.
We're going to follow up on that,
yes,
right? Next time you come over here, bring the mayor, and then we're going to follow up on that. Yeah. Thanks for the question, Marcus. So last question that we have over here, sorry, and then I definitely want to have your recommendation and everything also.
Oh.
So Leah.
I can't hear you, young lady.
I think it might have
Maybe
been.
it's off.
Press the button.
Press the button. Make sure there's a light there. You might
Marcus,
have to get closer to me.
Can you pass the microphone
now?
over?
Let's go.
Now it's the rescue plan.
Can you hear me now better?
There we go.
Oh,
Let's try this out.
Thank you. So thank you. Now you can hear me.
Yeah.
So thank you so much for this inspiring conversation. You have been mentioning before different type of neighborhoods and low income and inequality. So I wanted to ask you, what are the plans or the actions that the mayor's office is taking to reduce the digital divide? And also if there's the digital divide in these marginalized neighborhoods. And also if you have a little bit of time more, I'm interested as well in e-administration and electronic services that we have been using a lot during the pandemic. I don't know whether also the mayor's office want to promote that more. Muchas gracias.
Oh, me lo podía decir en español,
Sí,
¿por qué
claro
no?
que sí.
So digital divide, you're mentioning from some of these low income areas?
Yeah, because you were talking before about low income.
Yeah, so there's so much programs out there for them to compensate for the digital divide, right? We've been implementing these things in education. We literally start in high school. We're going down to middle school. It's really an interest. I don't know if you saw that the mayor was dabbling with. It'll come to me. Well, how do you call this thing? I'm sorry. I'm losing train of thought of. No, what the kids play right now.
TikTok?
No, not the playgrounds. The digital. Like Roblox, but that stupid game that they play.
Oh,
Minecraft and stuff like that. Yes. Oh my God. I'm so far from that. Oh my God. Oh my God. Sorry, I was having a brain fart in that moment. So we were funding a lot of these school initiatives that played with Minecraft, and just to grab the attention of some of these kids so that they can gravitate to tech. But it's really a personal decision that they have to make. Because again, I mentioned this earlier, there's this like soundbite with people, some of the kids and some of these socially, inclined neighborhoods, that we encourage them, we give them free everything, right? Free programs to learn how to do this and learn how to do that. And they don't take advantage of it. So I don't know how else to get the message out to them. And the mayor has been, maybe we have to go with what he suggested, is put it on the TV and force it on them a little bit so they can grab some interest. But it's been implemented in schools through STEAM and the STEM programs. It's been implemented in schools. We have, I don't know if you know, in the great borough of Brooklyn, I'm a Brooklynite, just so you guys know. The Brooklyn Navy Yard, that's a hub for technology. Everyone goes there, and we encourage high schoolers, college, just people from the neighborhood just come in, and we don't know how else to send the right messaging to folks, but there is a lot of programs already in place, a lot of funding to bring most teenagers into this. The reality of the fact is that it comes by groups, age of groups, right? A lot of the senior citizens don't want to take advantage of this neither, right? There's some folks who just saying, I'll have my grandchild or my daughter go on my smartphone and deal with that for me. So that's what we're facing now. I do it for my mother. And it's just, we implemented, I remember in Brooklyn, we had an initiative where we were giving all the senior citizens tablets so they can, learn how to function that and then take advantage of programming. Maybe they wanted to get involved. And those tablets went down the drain and nobody used it. So it's really, there's programming and there's a lot of initiatives out there in New York City. It's just people need to get engaged. Go to the My City app and find out where we have this. That's what I'm going to say.
That is a great transition.
Right?
Thank you for the question, Leah. Yeah. That is a great transition. So we have a tradition, and I appreciate all the different questions here, and I also like there were so many more we didn't get to, so we'll definitely keep you here for a little while.
Catch me afterwards. Yeah.
We have a tradition on this panel that I ask my panelists, what is the one sentence takeaway? And I feel like we just heard it. And what's the one sentence takeaway that you want everybody to take away? What is that you want the people to take away when they leave here today? And then also your recommendation for any sort of like a book, a platform, a podcast, something that you are listening to or that you're reading recently.
It's funny because you challenged me with that book, and I love the book that you gave us. But I like to start with Why by Simon Sinek. It's one of those one of the best books that I've ever read. I mean, aside from the people would say the Bible, but I'm not gonna go that way. There's a lot of books I like, but I definitely recommend that for any newcomers or anyone who wants to start a business. Understanding your why. And my takeaway will really be, it will go back to the book, is what is your why, what's your purpose being here, and make the best of it, right? Go back to the basics. People are forgetting, technology has really taken us away from the basics. And I will go back to that, is treat people the way you want to be treated. That's my sentence I tell everyone in my office or my staff, is if you work with a spirit of excellency, you're going to get excellency back. So, but just be mindful, folks. Treat people how you want to be treated, whether it's in technology, whether it's a bar, whether it's a waitress, whether it's the hot dog stand. Just treat people the way you want to be treated. That's my motto every day. So that would be my takeaway.
And check out the My City app.
And check out the My City app. People don't understand. It's something we need more people to get on there, but there's a way to really engage with the mayor directly. He loves to text folks back. So, and these wonderful suggestions, I am definitely taking it back to him, because if you hear it in a press conference, don't be surprised. He would say, one of my staff went there. He won't mention my name, but he would just mention scenarios. So there will be a lot of good takebacks from here. So thank you guys for this. There was a lot of great feedback, and I appreciate it.
Very much. And so my recommendation is The Lean Startup. This was what you were referring to by Eric Ries. Yeah. Definitely for all your entrepreneurs here, that is a great book.
Great read.
For building your business in the proper way. Denise, this was amazing. Thank you so much for taking seat in the hot seat.
Thank
literally
you for having
in the hot seat. And thank all of you for coming out tonight. I really appreciate that too, because it is freaking hot in here.
It's hot.
It is
Like,
hot.
I usually tell people it's hot like a bomba clots, but no. Okay. So thank you guys for having me here. Hopefully there'll be another opportunity, and I'll get clearance from legal too.
Oh, 100%. So we're going to have you back, and we're going to bring the mayor here also. And so just to wrap this up, so my name is Jan Rosner. We do this panel series on a regular basis here with different topics. I'm the CEO of One Earth Rising. We build infrastructure to bring games to Web3, the metaverse, and also to enable AI as a full tool for interoperability. So we would love to see you back here. Make sure you scan this little QR code and become part of our LinkedIn group. We just started that, so you get the news when we have the next panel up here. We're going to bring Denise back. We're going to bring Mayor Adams here. And then we just now have a good time. Check out the space. Thanks again to Spring Place as our sponsor. And have a good time. Mingle and get to know each other. And thanks to you guys. Round of applause to everybody. Cheers.